Hi, this is Steve, K8BZ, and in this video we're going to give you a brief introduction to Outpost scripting. Scripting is by far an advanced usage of Outpost. It isn't necessary for using Outpost, but the capabilities of Outpost, if you incorporate scripting, are almost unlimited. The subject is far more than could be covered in a single video or even a series of videos. So we're just going to give you an introduction and tell you where to find more information, and we'll write a fairly simple script and show you how it can be used. But as I said, you can use scripts to do almost anything you could imagine, limited only by your imagination and ingenuity. So what Outpost scripting, as I said, is an advanced level of Outpost utilization. It has unlimited possibilities for advanced message and application automation. It uses a programming language that's unique to Outpost. They call it Outpost scripting language. Many people who program will find many of the commands will be familiar to them. So if you do have programming experience, it definitely helps, but it's not a requirement. So in this video, we've already given a brief explanation of scripting. We're going to actually go to the Outpost website, and we're going to review scripting resources that are available on the website. You are going to need the Outpost website in order to use and learn scripting. But you'll be able to do some fairly advanced things without a great deal of effort if you just give it a chance. In this video, we're also going to use an example script from the website. We're going to copy that script, and we're going to insert that in our Outpost program, and we're going to modify it to fit our local needs here in Outpost. We're going to use that script to pull 4 local bulletin boards and send and receive messages to those 4 bulletin boards. You can then program in the script for it to pause for any period of time you want, and then repeat that process of in turn connecting to 4 bulletin boards, uploading any traffic ready to be uploaded to the specified bulletin board or boards, and download any traffic on the bulletin boards back into your Outpost program. So let's go to the Outpost website. We'll open up a browser, and I have a shortcut key here to the Outpost website. The website is at www.outpostpm.org, and when you get to the opening screen, you'll see a list of options here, and we're going to go right to this section about Outpost scripting. And when you get to that portion of their website, there'll be some basic information about scripting and a very brief description of what scripting is capable of. But we're going to go down here to Outpost scripting is made up of 4 key components. The first component is the Outpost scripting language. Basically, this is a programming language that Outpost uses to generate a more English version of a computer program that the Outpost script compiler uses to produce a machine language code that Outpost can use. That machine language code is then executed in the Outpost virtual machine that causes Outpost to execute that code, and the Outpost scripting window is just like think of it as a text editor built within Outpost that you can use to actually write the script. 2 of these you won't see. You're not going to really see the Outpost scripting compiler function that happens behind the scenes. The virtual machine executes the code behind the scenes. It will give you a rundown of what's occurring while that happens. But you need to know the scripting language, or at least have some examples that you are familiar enough with that you can modify for your own use. And you'll need to use the scripting window to write your code. Now up here in the first item, in the Outpost scripting language, there's a list of statements that Outpost recognizes and understands And if you click on that, it'll take you to that list. And I'll scroll down just a little bit to show you basically the length of the list. And in this chart, the first item is the actual command, and then there's a summary of what that command means. If you click on a command, it will take you down to a description of that command and maybe some examples of how to use it. So you need to know where that list of commands can be located. If you're looking for a specific command to do something, take a while to look through there, and you will probably find it. You may need a further description of what that command means. And if that's the case, we'll go down here to documentation, and this is where you'll find the complete user's guide in a PDF form that you can download for Outpost scripting. Well, I've already downloaded that. It's on my desktop. So I'm going to go here and open it. We're not going to spend much time here going over any of this. I just want to show you that this is a large PDF document that's the user's guide for Outpost scripting that gives you detailed information on the commands, how to write scripts, how to save them, how to do some pretty impressive things with scripts. So this is a fairly large document. Let me see, I think it's 50 some pages, 56 pages. And you will need to know where that is, and that is available also here in the documentation section of the Outpost website. Now if we scroll down a little more, there's two more sections. These are tutorials. They're very brief, quick, simple tutorials of some very, very basic scripts of what they do. So this is an actual script. The lines that begin with an apostrophe are just comment lines. They don't cause anything to happen in the operation of the script. The programmer just puts comment lines in to describe the script and help people understand what it is that the script is and what it does. So there are these tutorial scripts, and then down below that are example scripts. These are short examples of some scripts. Let me open one. This particular script causes a loop on 3 bulletin boards. It will continuously loop on the 3 bulletin boards. So this script can be copied and pasted in your script editor in Outpost and then modified for what you want it to do in your program or in your area. You can't run this script the way it is. You can, but it'll cause some problems for you, because it's going to change. It's going to say, I don't know what this TNC is, because the script is telling it to use the TNC garage TNC. The TNC that you identify in your script has to be one that's already set up in the Outpost setup menu for TNCs. When you set up Outpost, you had to identify a TNC and give it a name. That's the name that you need to use there. So that's part of the modification you need to make. If an example script has my call equals, you need to change that to your call sign, or a call sign that you are authorized to use, because that script, that line of code in the script, will actually change your my call command in your TNC to whatever call sign is inside the quotation marks. The BBS that it tells it to use to connect to has to be a bulletin board that's already defined in Outpost in your setup options. Now you can put a bulletin board in there that actually exists in your area, but if you didn't already set it up in Outpost in your setup menus, it will say this is an unknown bulletin board, and Outpost won't know what to do with it because you have not set it up in your setup portion of Outpost. So those are some of the examples of scripts. Now we're going to go up here and let's check on one of these tutorials. I'm going to take this tutorial, which basically is wanting to check 2 bulletin boards and check for messages on bulletin boards. The first bulletin board, it says, is K6FB-2 using the TNC identified as garage TNC, using my call as KN6PE, and it's asking Outpost to retrieve private and bulletin messages. Bulletin messages, anyone can download those. For private messages, they can only download private messages addressed to KN6PE. Then after that, it's going to connect to a different bulletin board, W6SJ C-1 using Garage TNC and using a different, no, the same MyCall, KN6PE. And this one it's only asking it to retrieve private messages. So then it's going to go down here and pause for 10 minutes and then repeat this loop, connect to these two bulletin boards and try to retrieve those messages again. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to do a Control-A to highlight it all, Control-C to copy it, and we're going to put this in Outpost and modify it to do something in our Outpost program. So let's open Outpost Packet Message Manager, and I'm going to maximize it. Now we're going to go to the Tools menu, go down to Scripts, and we are going to go to the Scripting tool. Now we want to write a new script, so I'm going to click New. When you do that, it's going to put in the 3 required commands in a script, but we're going to paste the script that we copied from the website. So I'm going to select all that and delete it. Then I'm going to do a Control-V and paste that script that we copied from the website. I'm going to maximize this window. Now I'm going to take these comments out of here just so we're not distracted by them and we can only look at the code. And I'm going to rearrange a lot of this in a nice logical order where things are kind of separated. Now let me explain here first. Commands can either be put one command per line, or you can put multiple commands on a line of code of script. When I talk about code and script, they're kind of interchangeable terms for our purposes right now. This line of script or this line of code contains 3 different commands. It contains a command to identify a bulletin board, contains a command to identify the TNC to use, a command, actually 4 commands, a command to set the MyCall command, and a command to retrieve private and bulletin messages. The next line of code initiates a send-receive session. The next line of code, and I'm going to separate that, the next line of code just prints a blank line after it does the send-receive session. There'll be a window that will actually pop up when this script is executed, and it will kind of show what's going on while that script is being executed. This forces a blank line between that section of the script and the next section of the script. Now what we want to do is connect to 4 different bulletin boards one at a time and upload any messages that are in our out tray, download any messages for us, and any new bulletins for us. So we only need to identify our MyCall command once, and we only need to identify our TNC once. So we can do that before we even get to the loop that's going to be a repeated thing. So let's put those 2 lines of code here. MyCall is going to equal quotation mark K8BZ. TNC is going to equal, oops, I need to put an equal sign here and not a plus. TNC is going to equal quotation marks KPC 3 plus. Okay. Now this is where the repeating portion of the code will actually start. So I can take out TNC and MyCall right out of there because we've already defined that once up here and it's not going to change, so we don't have to put it back in. I'm going to take out these leading spaces. And now we'll modify this for our local purposes. So the first bulletin board we want to connect to is going to be KD8TUV-1. And I can take out the semicolon. That just separates commands if you're putting more than one command on a line. Now we want to retrieve private, bulletin, and national traffic system messages. So I'm going to put an N in there also. Then it's going to initiate a send-receive session. Then it's going to put a line to separate that portion of the script from the next portion of the script. Now this down here is something I'm just going to remove. I'm going to highlight that and delete it. give me a little space here. Now we want to do 4 different bulletin boards. So I'm going to copy this, copy, and I'm going to go down here and paste it 4 times. 1, 2, 3. So we have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're good. I'm going to put some separators in here just to make this a little easier to follow. Okay, so now we've got things organized. So the first bulletin board is all set. It's KD8TUV. It's going to put a line to separate. Now the next bulletin board, we copied and pasted KD8TUV 3 times, so we need to change that call sign to each of the 4 different bulletin boards we want to access. Next one is going to be W8GDW-1. The next one nope, for some reason it didn't paste those. Let me recopy that. Next bulletin board is going to be WB80C-1. And the last bulletin board is going to be KE8DMW-1. And that should do it. Now I just want to look this over. Script begin. We've identified our call sign. We've identified our TNC. We're beginning the loop, connecting to the first bulletin board, telling it what we want to retrieve, do a send receive, leave a blank line, next bulletin board, private bulletin and national traffic system, send receive, blank line, third bulletin board, private bulletin, national traffic, send receive session, blank line, final bulletin board, send receive session, print. This line causes, when it gets to the end of connecting to all 4 of these bulletin boards, it's going to go to this line, which is going to cause it to pause for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. Well, there's where the KD8TUV is wound up. I'm just going to get these comments out of here. Okay, so it's going to pause for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes, and we're looking good. So now we need to save this script, and I'm just going to call it example. We'll give it the file name example, and we're all set. So we've got our script saved, and it's time now to go back to Outpost, and we will run that script and send and receive some messages. Okay, now we're in Outpost now. This is our in tray, nothing in our in tray. Let's look at our out tray. I've already compiled 3 messages that we're going to send. We're going to be accessing 3 different bulletin boards. We're already showing 4 different bulletin boards. I already have a message here for 1 each that are going to bulletin board WAGDW KD8TUV-1 and WB80C-1. So I'm going to make one more new message. All of these messages, let me open one here. All of these messages are identical. They're just addressed to the EC, the emergency coordinator, in all 4 of the counties that we're going to be sending this message to. These bulletin boards are located in 4 different counties here in Michigan: Clare County, Gladwin County, Ogama County, and Aranac County. And we're going to send this message to the emergency coordinator at their county packet station for our demonstration. So we have 3 already. I did those ahead of time to save time. But we'll make the final new message, and this is going to be a private message, and this is going to the bulletin board at KE8DMW-1. And it's going to the emergency coordinator for Aranac County, which is AB8SY. Subject is going to be scripting. Okay, and we click send, so that goes to the out tray. So now we have 4 messages from me going to 4 different people at 4 different bulletin boards, and I've already preloaded these bulletin boards with some messages to come back to me. We're going to run our script. Now when we do this, I can't look at the in tray and the out tray at the same time. If I leave it on the out tray while I run the script, you'll see one at a time these messages will disappear from the out tray list as the messages are being sent. After they're sent, they will wind up down here in the sent folder. But since I can't look at more than one folder at a time, I'm actually going to look in the in tray. You'll be able to see these messages being sent in the scripting window as they're being sent. And then you'll be able to see the messages that are coming back to my Outpost program from these 4 different bulletin boards will show up on the list in my in tray as that happens. So we don't click send receive. We're going to go up here to tools, down to scripts, and we're going to pick and run a script. Now the script that we created was named examples, so I'm going to click that, click open, and it will begin to run this script. I'm going to separate these windows just a little so we can see what's going on. Okay, this is connecting to the first bulletin board, sending to the emergency coordinator KA8DCJ over in Clare County. And now it's going to read a message for me, and that just appeared up here in my in tray as I described. Now it's killing that message from the bulletin board. Now it's listing traffic. There is no traffic. It's listing bulletins. Now there's going to be a handful of bulletins here, but I have already received those and they're already in my archive folder. This is the blank line I was telling you about. This is the first portion of our script. That's the blank line that it left to separate this portion. Now it's connecting to the second bulletin board. It just sent the message to K8EO, who is the emergency coordinator here in Gladwin County. And it didn't have any private or traffic messages, but now it's getting a bulletin message. Now this message is a weather advisory. I loaded this ahead of time in this bulletin board just for an example. So it's downloading a weather advisory from the bulletin board, and when it's done, that's going to show up here in my in tray. This is a little bit longer message. There it is. Now that showed up in red. Another space was left here, and it's running the next section of the script, which is connecting to the Ogama County Aries Races bulletin board. It already uploaded the message to the EC, to W8COP. And this one is a private message that it's already downloaded for me. It's killing the message. You can see it is here on the list in my inbox. If I look in my out tray, there's only one message left because the others have already been sent. And when it begins this next okay, here's the fourth one. This is connecting to the Aranac County Aries Races packet station. It sent the message to the emergency coordinator in Aranac County, Charlie, AB8SY. It's doing a list mine, now a list traffic. And there is a traffic message there, so it's going to read number 70. Now, it's not going to delete the National Traffic System message. It deletes private messages, but it won't delete the National Traffic System message until or unless I accept it. If I can't forward or deliver that message, then it's going to remain on the bulletin board. So now it's done, and this is the Outpost scripting window, and you see it's pausing for 600 seconds. So while that's paused, we're in our out tray now is empty. All those messages that I sent are all up here went to the top of the sent folder. And in my in tray, I have 4 messages. So let's open the first one. This was a National Traffic System message, just an example. Message to demonstrate scripting in Outpost PMM. If you accept this message, it means you will either deliver or relay the message. Accepting the message will also cause it to be deleted from the bulletin board the next time Outpost connects to this bulletin board. So I'm going to accept that. And this just reminds you, if you accept it, it's going to delete it from the bulletin board the next time Outpost connects. So let's go down to the next message. This is from KE8DMW to me. This just says it's demonstrating scripting in Outpost. Well, let's send a reply to that. And I'm just going to make this short. Thank you. 73. Send. That's our traffic message. That one we already replied to. Here's another one. We won't bother replying to that. Now let me close this. This is the National Traffic System message. You'll see it's in red. That's because that message was flagged as urgent when that was generated. Any messages flagged as urgent appear in red on the Outpost listing. So if we open that, this is the weather advisory, which is a flood advisory for southwest lower Michigan. And this actually is current, but we're not in southwest Michigan, so when I'm done, I'm going to delete this. We'll do one other reply here, just for fun. WB80C, thank you. Okay, so now in our out tray, oops, I guess I replied to the same one twice. Let's delete that. We'll go back here to the in tray. Let's reply to a different one. Send. Our out tray now has 2 messages going to 2 different bulletin boards. And our script is still paused. After 10 minutes, that will rerun that script. But I'm going to force it to rerun the script now, so we don't have to wait out this 10 minutes. And we'll just watch what happens. If that 10 minutes would have elapsed, it's going to connect to the first one, KD8TUV. Sending the first reply that we generated. It's doing a list mine, and there are no new ones. List traffic. No new ones. List bulletin. There are some bulletins, but there aren't any new ones, so it's just going to send the B command and disconnect. Now it's moving on to the second bulletin board. List mine, list traffic, list bulletins. There shouldn't be any new ones there unless somebody snuck in just in the past minute or two and left a new bulletin. So it's going to go up to WB80C. Sending my reply. Listing asking for any new messages, list traffic, list bulletins. There are no new ones, so it's going to disconnect. Going to go to the last bulletin board, KE8DMW. It's going to kill message number 70, which is the traffic message that I accepted. List mind, list traffic, list bulletins. And they're bulletins that I already have, so it's going to disconnect. And then down here it's going to pause again for 600 seconds. So we'll stop the script at that point. And that pretty much concludes our presentation on scripting. It is just an introduction, a very, very basic introduction, where to find this information, a demonstration of one simple thing you can do with scripts. The things that are available that you can do with scripting are literally unlimited. You could set up forwarding networks with scripting. You can set up forwarding networks just within a TNC itself, but you can set up forward networks within scripting to continue to forward messages from one bulletin board to another. They have to be running Outpost to do it and have the scripts properly set up, but they can even be selective routing by selecting messages addressed a certain way to be routed a certain way, and it's just unlimited what can be done. So again, this is a very advanced part of Outpost. Probably everyone won't find a use for it, but if you want to be completely familiar with what Outpost can do, you need to at least have some familiarity with scripting. So thanks for watching, and again, as always, if you have any questions or problems, feel free to email me at k8bz@arrl.net, and I'll help you any way I can. Thank you.